Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Alternate Point of View. My name is Tracy Lee, and here we are talking again about true crime and the investigation that the FBI has done so far regarding Charlie Kirk's assassination. I know I've done several videos about Charlie Kirk and the impact that he has made on my life and so many other people's lives, and what this assassination has meant. But now I have had obviously over a week to kind of sort of process what has happened. But what I'm now looking at is, does this story add up? Does the investigation add up? A lot of my friends, people I know, call me a conspiracy theorist, but this isn't really a conspiracy. I got questions. That's what I got. So, I have a little, obviously, I've mentioned this several times on my show, of knowledge about weapons, okay, about guns. And I will just tell you the type of gun that they are saying that was used to take out Charlie was a very large Mauser rifle. If you have not seen a Mauser rifle, I am going to show you a Mauser rifle. It is a very large gun. It's used to take out wild animals. It's used for hunting. And it is used to hunt elk, deer. It's not small, and it's mainly used for game hunting, right? So it's your, like you would see in your grandfather's closet or gun rack or something like that. Okay, so when I say this is a very large gun, and they're trying to say that this was shoved down this guy's pants, it was not. I mean, it could be. It could have been from like his top of his shirt down his pants. I did see a guy put this on his TikTok, do a video of a TikTok. This would be a Mauser custom bolt action with a scope. And as you can see, it's very long. So yeah, sure, you could possibly put this down your pants. It would be very difficult to walk, and you would see a significant, uh, pretty stiff, pretty stiff walk. Okay, now I want to show you guys the type of rounds that would go into this type of gun. These are the type of bullets. These are the type of rounds that would go into this type of gun. These are very, very large. Very large. This is larger than my chapstick. Okay. I use a lot of comparisons with my chapstick because I want to show people something for comparison. So it would be about that big. Okay. So when I say that you what did this to him was not that, um it just can't be. There was absolutely no blood. It was a single shot, single wound. A 30-06, which is what that was, a 30-06, is meant to take down elk, deer, larger animal, game, elephant, like huge animals. it would have, even from the yards they're trying to say, the meters they're trying to say that this was shot from, uh, 200 yards is what they're trying to say. This would have literally obliterated, and it would have been the most god awful sight. Not that it wasn't already the most god awful sight for millions of people to see. And the videos that I have unfortunately seen, not by my choice, uh, were awful. But a 30-06 would have done so much damage. Uh, if you've never seen videos where people have been practicing at the range or things like that, imagine a watermelon explode. That is what would have happened to him. So that is what a 30-06 would have done to soft tissue. So I'm finding it very, very hard to believe that this 22-year-old young man, Tyler Robinson, even if he were an avid hunter or an avid range guy, would have been able to do this in one shot at such precision. Granted, uh, it's not impossible, obviously, and I'm not a military person. I'm not an expert, but I have seen a lot of military experts making videos talking about it. Obviously, my husband is a very, very good shooter. And so I have been looking up this information. I have been researching. I have been looking at videos of how to break down said rifle. It is not an easy, quick few seconds to do to break down this type of rifle. Yes, you can break down a Mauser, but what the FBI is saying is they're saying that he broke down this weapon and left his screwdriver on the roof and then ran off the rooftop, jumped off the rooftop with the rifle wrapped in a towel, and then took off running and then hid the rifle in the woods wrapped in a towel, but then reassembled it. But he left his screwdriver on the roof. The other thing the FBI is saying is that the DNA of Tyler Robinson was found on the screwdriver and the towel. What I find odd is that Tyler Robinson supposedly etched into each round many derogatory terms, like, if you can read this, you're gay, fascist. He wrote, he scribbled in some things into the rounds, and I find these things rather convenient given the horrific school shooting that happened in Minnesota, where that school shooter had engraved things into the projectiles that he had. I just think it's kind of convenient to the narrative. At first, I just want to say, like, when this story came out, when this happened, I was very, very angry. And it was very easy for me to, of course, you know, fall into the whole, uh, this obviously was someone who disliked Charlie, and things he was saying. And this, of course, was someone who was, it was just easy. It was easy to fall into the whole transgender narrative. what have you. But now I'm starting to wonder if this isn't part of another bigger story, a made up story, even. Maybe something that's supposed to make us think something that doesn't exist, that isn't real. Charlie was a Christian first. Charlie was spreading the word of God. And if this was a hate against Charlie, I I I'm I guess, but why Charlie? I just don't understand it. But the timeline doesn't make sense. I've been going over this timeline and I just don't understand it. So the timeline, okay, so we have video, all right, of this suspect. This is another thing that's been bothering me. So we have video of this suspect. I'm going to show you this video. So here's the suspect, Tyler Robinson, supposedly. Here he is. At 8:23 a.m., he's supposedly shows up to the campus area in a neighborhood, and he's driving around. This is him apparently prior to, in normal clothes, right? T-shirt and shorts. And he's walking down a street close to the campus. And then an hour and a half later at 9:57, he's seen walking past the same security cameras wearing this T-shirt and shorts. This is him after he's arrested. Okay. So here's my question. Where is he going into this building? Where is he? Where's the footage? Where's the footage of Tyler going into the building? Where is that footage at? So if you have all of this footage of him supposedly going into campus, hours. So Charlie Kirk is shot at 12:23 p.m. You have hours. This guy, 8:29 a.m., 9:23 a.m. And then you see 12:07 Charlie Kirk arrives. 12:09 p.m. Charlie Kirk appears in front of everyone, starts throwing out the hats. 12:11 p.m. Charlie Kirk starts speaking, and then at 12:23 p.m. Charlie Kirk is shot. And then literally at 12:23 p.m. this guy, at exactly 12:23 p.m., this guy is running off the rooftop. And I have this in very slow motion to show you how this doesn't make any sense. So this guy is going to be running. Here's his, he's running. It's 12:23. 12:23. Charlie's just been, this is seconds. Seconds. Here he is running. I don't see a gigantic Mauser rifle anywhere. I don't see a Mauser rifle. I don't see a Mauser rifle. I don't see a Mauser rifle. His legs seem to be working fine. I don't see anything down his pants. I don't see a Mauser rifle. I mean, that could be a towel. For all we know, this kid went to see Charlie Kirk and went on the rooftop, took a towel to sit on so he could get a better view above everyone else. And he heard the gunshot, and he freaked out, and he ran. Jumps off. No rifle. No rifle. No rifle. No rifle. No rifle. There he is. Running. He's getting up. He hits the ground. Yep. No rifle. It's a towel or something, backpack maybe even. I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, I don't see anything. So we'll even speed it up to normal. Yeah. That's like a jacket or a towel. It could be a towel. They say towel. We're going with towel because that's what the FBI says, but it could be his jacket. I don't know. For all we know, this kid was sitting on the rooftop because he wanted a really good view. And he got freaked out when he heard the gunshot and he ran. But this kid does not have a rifle. And he's running, and he does what we all do. We start running, and then we get that, oh, okay, I'm tired of running, and we start walking. Do the run walk. And yeah, so he's not walking with a limp or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, it's just wild. So, but the FBI story is that he somehow managed to, in that literal second of time, less than a second of time, shoots Charlie Kirk, breaks the gun down, leaves the screwdriver, runs off the rooftop, jumps off the rooftop with the gun stuffed down his pants or wrapped in a towel, and then runs into the woods, wherever there are woods. I'm not sure if you could see the entire area around the campus, but there aren't really any woods. There are trees around the campus, but not woods. They call it a wooded area, but it's not really woods. And hides the gun. And then the FBI claims that there is DNA found on the towel and the screwdriver, but they don't find DNA on the gun or the projectiles that he supposedly inscribed wording on that was supposedly left-wing liberal hate speech. I'm not really sure. Yeah. So then the timeline continues. Charlie Kirk at 12:52, someone is taken into custody. That person was on the ground in the crowd. But Charlie Kirk was supposedly shot from the rooftop. And this is like a guy in his 70s. And he was let go because he was supposedly just obstructing justice. Then at 2:22, there's no suspect. 2:40, Charlie Kirk is announced dead. 4 p.m., another person is in custody, but we don't know who that is. At 4:21, Kash Patel announces officially there's another person in custody, but we don't know who it is still. And then later, they announce that person is released. But yet again, still have no idea who that person is. At 7:19 a.m. on September 11th, they find a high-powered bolt-action rifle. And then at 9:56 a.m., they release that amazing photo of Tyler Robinson. And they ask for the public's help. And then at 6 a.m. Mountain Time, they have a person in custody. And that is due to Tyler Robinson's family supposedly recognizing him and mom calling around. Supposedly mom's like, hey, where were you? Where have you been? And he's like, I was homesick. And dad's like, no, let's have a chat. Let's go see our preacher. Preacher happened to be a ex-sheriff or something. Also, for the FBI said that Tyler Robinson's dad was a sheriff. No, he wasn't. His dad was a construction worker. Way to go, FBI. FBI does not have any of their shit together. They're just putting out information and they don't have any of it accurate. Not a flippin' word. So you would think that the FBI would be more on top of this. Also, you would think that, Charlie Kirk's just been assassinated. And I mean, my God, the people, you would think they would have confiscated as many people's cell phones as they could have. There were 3,000 people there. Also, where's the footage of this kid going into the building? It's a campus. So there's cameras on outside of the building. There's cameras inside of the building. So the only camera footage we have is of this random guy walking upstairs that they say has a limp, a straight leg. Nothing else. We got nothing else. You also have one of Turning Point USA's people, their own people, removing cameras from behind Charlie and taking out the SD card. That's not critical evidence. That hasn't even been turned over to the FBI. Nope, not at all. You have people literally with phones out everywhere. And the FBI has not said, we have confiscated, we need every single person's video that they have taken from that event. We need every angle. Not at all. They didn't crime scene tape off anything. You have people up and in that tent all over. Charlie Kirk's just been assassinated. There's people all over the place. Do you know at this event there were only 6 police officers? 6. 3,000 people. 6 police officers. And Charlie Kirk's security. That's it. That's it. I mean, I know Charlie Kirk wasn't like a politician and he wasn't like, but I mean, my God, he helped get president elected, for God's sake. So just saying. Also, I want to talk about these text messages because I said I would. I put it on my TikTok that I said I would talk about these text messages because this is another thing that I question is these text messages. Because I text my 25-year-old son. And let me just tell you, there's no 22-year-old on the planet that's texting this way. I mean, I just don't see it. Okay. I'm lucky if I get a, yeah, okay, bruh, what? I mean, come on. I'm lucky if I get a response. But I mean, I guess if you're lovers or whatever, and I'm really sick and tired of people calling this guy his roommate. This was his boyfriend. Okay. Or maybe it was his roommate. I don't know. But they're trying to make him sound like he was with a furry transgender boyfriend. So maybe they're calling him roommate now because maybe it really was his roommate and they're trying to push this transgender narrative because, we are trying to push a transgender narrative thing going on right now. So I don't know. So maybe I shouldn't assume. So the text messages. Drop what you are doing, comma, look under my keyboard, period. The only thing 22-year-old about this is they're using lowercase. He used lowercase letters. And just so you know, the text message chain, they don't have their little bubble pictures on here. Most text messages have the bubble. These are not the real messages. This is from CNN US. Also, the other text messages that they were showing didn't have the date. These don't have their bubble faces or their number. Most text messages have the bubble. So anyway, he supposedly, his roommate looks under his keyboard and he finds a note that says, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it." What does that mean exactly? Does that mean I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it? I mean, is he planning it? I mean, did he do it? Like, what does that mean? Is that a confession? I'm not really sure. It's not exactly. Um, Also, if this is something else I'm curious about. If you're gonna do something like this, wouldn't you have pre-planned it? Because that's another thing. To get a shot like that, to know that you're gonna, you would plan it. You would test it. You would go to those buildings. You would check the angles. This isn't something you can run and do and set the scope. And you've got to test it. You cannot get that angle and that your scope set that fast to get that shot. Hunters have to be ready. That's why they sit out early in the morning for hours on end. And when they see a deer or whatever they're going to shoot, they have to be ready for that. They have to set the scope 50 meters, 60, 100 meters, 200 meters, whatever. They have to be ready for the shot. So this kid had to be on the roof and ready, but according to the FBI, he got up there and he ran across the rooftop, laid down, and within literal seconds took the shot. It just doesn't make any sense. So the roommate responds, "What?" Like a million question marks. "You're joking, comma, right?" And he spelled "your" in the proper grammar, by the way. Right? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Okay, first of all, I don't care what age you are. I don't care whatever. Your first response is not all of this. It's what the fuck? What the fuck? WTF? It is not all that. Uh and then Tyler's response is, "I am still okay, my love." I feel like there's something missing. Like I feel like there's more to, like, if he's going to respond with this long paragraph of "I'm still okay, my love, but am stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be home until I can shouldn't be long until I can come home. But I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you." What? Like, I feel like there's something missing. Like there should, like, another, like, "What? You're joking, right?" Like, "No, man, I ain't joking. I did it." Like I mean, I just feel like there's, like, what? There's something missing. "I'm still okay, my love." Like, why are you saying "I'm still okay"? Like, he didn't ask you if you were okay. He asked you, "Are you freaking joking?" Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? That's what he's asking. That, and but I gotta grab my rifle still. What are we in the 1800s? What? To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. What? I mean, I don't know if y'all have heard any current songs or whatever today, but that is not how they sound. Um, no. And then he asks, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" Question mark, question mark, question mark. Obviously, he just told you he's the one who did it. That's not a dude. He just said he did it. Like, what the "I am. I'm sorry." Yeah, what? Yeah, yeah, dude. And then he's like, "I thought they caught the person." Question mark. And then he goes on this long, detailed paragraphs of no, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing, period. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, comma, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Okay, now let's look at that. So he says, now there's no times, by the way, on any of these messages. No times. So we don't know. But at 12:52, someone was taken into custody. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude. Then interrogated someone in similar clothing. How the frick does he know they interrogated someone in similar clothing? When, by the way, they didn't release his picture until 9:56 a.m. the next day. This supposedly, these messages are on September 10th. Supposedly. His picture wasn't released until September 11th at 9:56 a.m. So you tell me how that makes sense. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. And then why is he saying, but I had planned to get my rifle from a drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. They hadn't found that rifle yet. They hadn't. So why is he saying all of this? It's like he knows. It's like someone knows. It's almost as if someone from the FBI may have written this. Then the roommate says, "Why?" And he says, "Why did I do it? I had enough of his hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have left no evidence. Going to attempt to retrieve it again because hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it." Interesting. How would he know that though? And then it says, "How long have you been planning this?" Then the answer is this: a bit over a week, I believe. A bit over a week, I believe. Dude, if you couldn't stand Charlie Kirk and you'd had enough of his hatred, I'm pretty sure this has been boiling for a while. I'm pretty sure that you knew his tour was coming up for longer than a week, and you believe you've been planning it for over a week. You believe? That sounds like you're not sure. Sounds you're kind of like, I don't know. Yeah. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. Now, here's the other thing I have a question about. Like, if you already made it off the rooftop with your gigantic Mauser shotgun, right, bolt action rifle, okay, and you got away, why would you drop it in a wooded area? Why wouldn't you just go all the way back to your car? I mean, at this point, you had plenty of time. They already had some old dude at 12:52. They were distracted. And then you apparently already knew that they had another dude that was in similar clothing. I mean, why don't you just go to your car and boogie on back home. By the way, this kid lived 4 hours away from this college. He could have been home by the time. I mean, I'm very confused. If he had been planning this, he believes, for about a week. I mean, I'm just so then he continues with more of this long paragraph. I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. So, in case, for those of you who don't know about the Mauser, these are old rifles. They do make newer versions, but most of them are wood stock. So, Grandpa's rifle is probably the wood stock style that I showed you a picture of. Now, uh, here's where you have the little acronyms. Most kids type with acronyms. I type with acronyms. Half the time you don't type all this paragraph crap out. And he says, I don't know. I guess it says IDEK if it had a serial number, but if it wouldn't trace to me, I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the fuck will I explain losing it to my old man? It's kind of strange that he's more concerned about losing this rifle. Also, when you see the kid jump off the rooftop, he's wearing black clothing, dark clothing. I'm not really sure where they're saying why they're saying he changed his clothing in the woods, because he's wearing the same type of clothing. He's wearing dark clothing. Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The fucking messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm going to have to leave it. That really fucking sucks. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. I don't know. IDK. I think that was a 2K scope. So he's saying he had a really good scope. So what I'm getting at out of this message is they're trying to say that the scope was excellent, like it was a really nice scope, because they have to say it's a nice scope, because how can he make that shot? That great of a shot. Okay. Also, they're trying to put the towel in there because that's what they're saying they have the DNA on. They're also trying to explain away these they have to put in the bullets in there with the messages, because they have to say that of course he put these messages on these bullets, much like the transgender shooter or the guy in Minnesota, because they want this narrative to keep going. So also he's now implicating his roommate, even though in the beginning of this text message chain, he's telling his roommate, oh, look under the keyboard, and he finds the note, and the roommate's supposed to be like, oh my God, did you do it? And then he's saying, remember when I was engraving those bullets? And now he's telling him, delete this exchange. And then now he's saying, my dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it is very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering. Where's the photos of the rifle? Because where are the photos of the rifle? Since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. You are all I worry about, love. Now, through this entire text, the roommate has not said a word. Not a word. Where are the messages from the roommate? You would think that if you were his roommate, his boyfriend, or whatever, you guys would be going back and forth. Like, you'd be going off, right? You'd be like, what the fuck? Get your ass home. Like, I'm calling your parents. I mean, what's going on? You'd be going nuts. This would not be, you wouldn't just be sitting here listening to this person, like having this person just, this is crazy. This is crazy. This has Lee Harvey Oswald history repeating itself all over again. It totally does. And then the roommate responds, I much more worried about you. And then he says, don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. I just find this entire text chain rather convenient. I have questions, lots and lots of questions. I have questions because this is the same FBI that says there's no Epstein list. This is the same FBI that just sat in front of a Senate hearing where Kash Patel said that Epstein didn't traffic anyone to anybody. And that if there was any evidence of it, he would be the first one to tell on it. Okay. Well, I don't believe that. I believe that about as much as I believe in Santa Claus and unicorns. So, yeah, I'm not buying this. The entire country is turned upside down. I thought the country was in topsy-turvy world when we had Joe Biden as president. I thought there wouldn't be any more hate and division than there was then. But now I am seeing there is a lot more hate and division now. And I feel like the narrative is just different. I feel like they are trying to push an agenda. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. There are two genders. I'm not crazy. The Bible says so. Science says so. But I think they are pushing this agenda on this narrative with the transgender, what have you. I think they're driving something that isn't real as far as with this story. And Tyler Robinson is not cooperating, which is odd because you would think if you hated someone so much, you would take responsibility. And another thing, the roommate, the FBI released that roommate within hours. Weird, right? These text messages are between the roommate and the shooter, and the roommate's just released. I mean, he literally says in the text messages, remember when I was engraving those bullets? Remember? And they just released the roommate to his parents. He's an adult. And they're still searching the house. Now, again, no fingerprints are found. So far as they've said, no fingerprints found on the rifle or the bullets, and they have not found any tools that have been used in engraving any of these bullets. They have come out with nothing and no manifesto. Right? 9 times out of 10, there's a manifesto. We haven't had a manifesto from Tyler Robinson. Nope. Nothing. It's really weird. Where is the manifesto? If he had so much hate for Charlie Kirk and he was plotting his death, he believes, for about a week, where is the evidence of that? And where is the evidence of him going into this building? And where is the evidence of him actually shooting Charlie Kirk? There is no dispute that Charlie Kirk was shot and he was taken from us. I am just merely questioning the investigation and the victory lap that they took with their big 33 hours. 33 hours. I feel like it could have been done way faster. There's a lot missing. A lot. So, thanks for watching, you guys. And don't forget to get your Bernie's Best, because you will get 20% off when you go to Bernie's Best and use your code NEO. And you can get your charming chompers and your hip tablets and your Hope Omegas and your perfect poop, because if your dog has trouble pooping and has a little soft poops, you can get better poops with perfect poop, and you can get great breath with your charming chompers and get that 20% off with your Neo 20. Neo's over here. You can't see him right now, but he definitely loves his Bernie's Best. Augie Dog loves his OMG Omegas. So don't forget to get your Bernie's Best with your 20% off with Neo 20. And I will see you guys in the next video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and pray for Charlie's family, and pray that we get more answers, because I do believe there are more answers out there. See you guys in the next video.